Hi, I'm your host, Julie Faithan Balzer. Today, Joe Rotella is here to make an artful gaming set with cool molded embellishments. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Julie.
So you brought us something wild. You brought us dragons.
I did. This is a little gaming set, a dice tower. You drop the dice in and they tumble and roll out mixed up, a scorebook, and a repurposed cigar box to hold your cards. And I want to make a lot of them as gifts, but the problem is that means I need a lot of those embellishments. I found a vintage belt buckle from the 80s, dragons, and I loved it. So I molded it in one case with a molding putty, and that's food safe, that's great for that application. But sometimes you have embellishments that are maybe on a wall or a ceiling, and you can't stand there and hold a putty.
Actually, somebody was saying to me that they were sneaking up onto people's doors and molding their doorknobs.
Florence has beautiful ones. Let's go, we should go. So I
was gonna say, so like, for instance, if this were on a wall or if this were a doorknob or something like that, how would you mold something like that that you can't remove and put somewhere?
So this is a silicone paste. And what I'm going to do is put some out on this plate.
It looks like frosting.
And you can really measure it to be sure it's exact. I kind of go for the same size lumps. And as a little tip, don't use the same knife in both containers because then you'll contaminate part A with part B.
Okay.
So I've got two separate knives here. Now I'm not going to mix them again. I can just, mix it up.
Swirl it around.
And you want to get it a consistent color. It's like making icing.
So you're getting rid of any marbling that's there. I don't want to see any white streaks. I just want to see one like sort of cerulean blue all the way through.
Exactly. And we're almost there. Now the nice part about this particular material is that it takes 3 hours to set up, and you can also layer it. So you don't have to rush, you don't have to feel as pressured as you might with a putty in getting it applied to the surface.
So could you actually like put this in a small container and carry it around with you if you wanted to go and mold something that was on a wall?
Well, as long as you didn't carry it along that long. How's
you'd
that?
Say mix it on the spot.
It can cure faster based on the temperature. A little warmer will cure faster. So I'm actually going to apply it with my knife here, and I'm going to do a very, very thin coat. I want to be sure I get all the details.
Now it's not harming anything, and you didn't spray this with anything, so when it hardens, it's not like it's going to be stuck there.
No, it's silicone, so it's going to peel right off.
I'll hold this for you.
Oh, perfect. And again, because we can apply this in layers, I'm going to go for a very thin layer first and make sure that I get all the detail in this little guy.
So I know that this is metal. Could you mold this on wood, on plastic? Are there certain materials that work better than others?
Plastic is great. Wood, it doesn't stick to this board, but you might want to seal the wood first. Just use any acrylic sealer because you don't want this to adhere to it, although I've never had any trouble.
And I know, because I happen to see this, that when you actually pull it off, it's going to look a little something like this.
Yeah, you can almost see it here. Now I'll come back and finish this later because remember, I have a pretty good work time and I can add more layers to it.
So here we go, and if we flip it over, it's magical. There's an owl inside.
So the next thing we want to do is fill it with a 2-part resin. The problem is we don't know how much resin to make, and you don't want to waste it. Now, I usually have a bunch of molds out at once, so that if I have any left over, I can,
well, that doesn't look like
stuff.
resin to me.
But here's a trick. Fill your mold with some rice to the right level. We'll get some rice everywhere. And then measure the rice.
Oh, wait a second. I get this. So you're basically trying to see how much resin you need in there, and as soon as you put it into this little cup here, then you know that what you need is to exactly fill it with this much resin so you don't overmix too much or not have enough, which I've done.
So this way, I know I need about 3/4 of an ounce. Before you cast anything, you want to spray it with a release. Just give it a little mist, let that dry. While that dries for a few seconds, I'm going to take my 2 parts, A and B.
So what you've done, because I can see that you've marked each of the cups with a little notch, is essentially you know that you need the cups combined to fill the cup as much as the rice has, so you basically halved that. So you're not actually filling each cup with the same amount of rice, you're filling it with half the amount of rice.
And then for mixing, we're going to pour both parts, A and B, into a container. Don't use styrofoam, use plastic.
Does styrofoam react with it? Is that why?
It can. And so now that we have it here, we're going to stir this for about 30 seconds. You can stir in a circular motion, and then every now and then swirl around the bottom.
Then you're really getting every last bit mixed together.
So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into our mold. Remember, there's the release agent in there already.
So that's keeping everything, and you know that you've mixed the exact perfect amount of resin, so you're not worried about it.
If it goes over a little bit, that's okay. If it has any bumpies on the bottom.
Well, you know what I suffer from is under. I more often don't mix enough, and then I have a mold that's half full.
Look at that.
How perfect are you?
Now that'll cure in about 10 minutes. You're gonna see it go from clear, or kind of a little yellowish to me. You'll start to see it get kind of white, smoky white in the center, and then all the way through. And you can demold it when it's solid white. You could wait the full amount of time, but if we demold it when as soon as it goes white, it's soft enough we could even bend it around something. So it's been about 10 minutes. Let's see what we have.
This is exciting.
It's exciting. It's actually a little bit warm.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a chemical reaction that's taking place that actually sets
Oh my gosh.
resin. Look how easy it comes out.
I sort of didn't believe you that in 10 minutes it was going to be done. That's amazing.
Look at our owl.
Wow, it looks fantastic.
Now, this can be drilled, sanded, painted. You could layer the paint on it. The other really cool thing is if you have any burrs around the edge or anything you need to clean up, just use a little piece of sandpaper or a rotary tool. But we can mass produce those now and make gaming sets all day.
Of course, because I'm going to say you can use the mold over and over and over again,
Absolutely.
and that's exactly how you completed that gaming set, right? By just simply doing it over and over and then painting them up and attaching them to whatever you want.
That's it. It's that simple to make as many embellishments as you need.
I love that. I'm going to go around peeping at people's doorknobs now and creating molds. It's a great idea. Thank you so much.